Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself. I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Man, I won't lie. Every day I ask Siri how many days until August 29th.
I love
to make
it.
sure.
I love it.
Literally, every day. And that's how anxious I am. And not even anxious, but just to go and give it our last shot. You know, here with Corinne Reed, too. This is our last shot, too. So.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Do you think Junior Tafuna asked Siri today how many days till game day?
I don't think Junior Tafuna's ever asked Siri.
He told Siri.
I can't see in those big giant hands of
Right,
his.
him just going,
him holding the phone and saying, "Hey, Siri." I don't think so.
You're going to wake my phone up. Don't do it. Hold on.
Sorry.
Though we used to do, back in the day, because when Siri first came out, and we used to do the thing where, because people are listening over the air, and we'd go, "Hey Siri, text mom, tell her I'm pregnant, send." and then we would see who would actually, if we get these grumpy people that are texting us back. My mom just got a text. What'd it say? You're expecting? Good news. That's great news for you. Asking Siri how far away the football season is, it's a moot point today, JJ, because it is freaking game day. We're back. It's college football.
The calendar
back in
finally
swing.
said, "Quit asking."
Oh, my goodness.
It's here.
Yeah, but is it?
At least whatever tonight is here.
Oh.
We'll take it.
Utah
That's not a complaint. We'll take it.
versus Southern Utah. Obviously a classic battle of two teams with the name Utah in their university. Oh, yeah.
An in-state rivalry.
Delane Fitzgerald's like, this is a tradition for us that we like to do every couple of years, come up, get paid, leave town with our tails between our legs.
The third meeting in 8 seasons.
Is that what it is? Is that the third time they played each other in 8 seasons?
The only times they've ever played, period.
Okay. I know that they put 70 on them 2 years ago. What was the previous score before that? Even
It was tight. It was like 20.
Oh, it was not tight.
I'll give you. Hold on. Tight in the sense that it should have been a blowout. You know what?
Right. Yes. So this is where I get with my friends at Winsipedia. Yes, it's a thing. Winsipedia is it's a good one. Although I don't know if they actually keep tabs on. No. So 73 to 7 was the
Come on,
the one
Internet.
from 2 years ago.
Come on, Internet.
So did they cover that game?
Yeah.
All right.
They did. But I don't think they covered the
First
previous
matchup,
one. 24 to nothing.
24-0.
September 1st, 2016.
Okay. Throw out the record will these two get together. So a grand total of the Utes have won the last 2 games by a total of 97 to 7. Not bad. Not a bad go. They scored 38 points, by the way, in the second quarter in 2022. We'll see what happens tonight. I'm really interested to see what Cam Rising looks like out there. I started to buy into the idea that maybe it's a little bit more nerve-wracking for him than we would have thought. Not necessarily, obviously, not Southern Utah, but I'm just saying, actual live fire. You know what I mean?
Have we not talked about this enough? I think
we have talked about it a lot, but I haven't.
I don't think we have.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
because
let's do
we've
this.
just all been all in on this. They're back. They're back.
I know, and I'm not trying to freak anybody out. I'm not. I'm not going to play the game of saying I think Cam Rising's going to be up in his head. What I'm saying is it's been a long time since he has actually done this. It's been a long time since he hasn't had that black or green jersey on that says "Don't touch me," right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that the offensive line is going to drop the ball on this one and let a couple of Thunderbirds through and have a clean shot at Cam Rising. But there has to be a little bit of something about where his head's at. We'll listen to some audio here. We've got to kick our program off, though, officially. JJ, is that all right?
Let's do it. Roll it out.
G2G Bars is the sponsor of your program. It is an amazing protein bar. It is preservative-free. It's made right here in Utah. You can find them at Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods. If you haven't tried a G2G bar yet, do what your neighbor's doing, and that is eating a protein bar that's packed with a ton of nutrients. And it's all natural. It's awesome. Give it a shot. Costco, Holiday Oil, Maverick, Associated Foods. That's G2G bars. Let's kick the program off, though, with the cut, as we always do. We'll jump right in here. We'll get to some Utah sound. Getting you ready for the Utes versus Southern Utah. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
And this portion of the show brought to you by Trajan Wealth, TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's TrajanWealth.com for all your financial needs in retirement. All right, JJ, let's talk about it then. You've got Cam Rising coming back, hasn't played a live snap in a game that counted since January 1 of 2023. That's a long time ago. Today is August 29th of 2024. I know that, I'm less worried about Brant Kuithe because I think they did everything they could and waited as long as they could to make sure everything was on the up and up with his injury. But again, the quarterback is a massive question mark. I'm wondering, and I think it's because I heard Frank Dolce with Hans and Scotty talking about this, and we'll bring Steve Bartle on in the program. We'll have all sorts of things to jump in with this, but I just wonder where his head's at, because I think that at some point during the rehab, you're emotionally rehabbing this guy as much as you are anything else, because when you have the full knee being replaced, when you have...
You mean fixed?
Was it fixed?
It wasn't replaced.
Well, I mean, it was a knee, I think it was a replacement, though, like in terms of the... No, he doesn't have a...
Reconstruction?
Yes, maybe that's what it is.
I don't want anybody thinking like he was like 80 years old and he had to get like
bionic.
It's like a hip
Oh,
replacement.
no, sorry. But,
a reconstruction.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was
clearly it was a significant knee injury.
And it was all of it. It was like, we got to do everything.
Yeah.
And I just wonder where his head's going to be at when the first snaps happen. And what about when it becomes an opponent like Baylor next week? What about when it's the middle of the season? Now, by then, I think that a game like tonight is a perfect time to be able to say, let's wrap your head around this thing. I don't doubt that Cam Rising is strong enough mentally to be able to handle this. But we haven't seen whatever version of a guy coming back from a significant injury and surgery and all those things and the rehabbing of all that. We haven't seen that version of Cam yet. We've seen all the other versions of Cam. We've seen the toughness. We've seen the side of Cam that is an absolute competitor. The question is, can he put all the stuff aside that may creep into your mind when you've had an injury like that to be able to be the best version of you, which is, supposed to be one of the, if not the best quarterback in the entire conference?
Cam Rising is an elite college quarterback. He's a proven quarterback. He's a proven leader. We know what his resume is. We know what he's accomplished. But the last time he was on a football field, he shredded his knee, and he hasn't been back on it since. And so you wonder, and I think it's fair to wonder, and it's fair to be curious, and I think all Utah fans watching tonight are like, I can't wait to see Cam Rising on the field for a number of reasons. Number one, because you love him because he's won you a lot of games, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in school history. Number two, you have a chance to do something special this year with him under center. Number three, you're curious what he's going to be like after missing all this time. And then Cam Rising is, as I say, elite, but he's also human. And as human beings, when we go through something that is traumatic, that can be difficult. And then how do you get over that mental part of it? You do the physical part. And I don't think that was hard for Cam to do the rehab and the physical part of getting back to being 100%. But he has not officially tested the mental part of it. You're going to have to go out there and prove to everybody, including yourself, that you can handle the mental part of that going back out there after you suffered a traumatic injury in a game the last time you played. And I think he can do that. And I think that's why tonight is important. For him and for everybody else to see Cam is back. Because until he's actually on the field in a game that matters and a game that counts, throwing touchdown passes, there's always going to be that doubt. We went through it all last year, and I think that's contributed to this. The lack of confidence. Is he ready? Is he ready? We were told multiple times last year, yeah, Cam's good. He'll be ready. Well, he never was. So is he ready tonight? I'm sure he will be. And once he gets out there and he proves that, then everybody's going to take a big sigh of relief, and there's going to be some of that wonder, maybe even some doubt, replaced with enthusiasm and excitement for what's to come because Cam Rising is officially back and he's himself again. Yes, he has to go out and prove that tonight. And I think that's why a lot of us are going to really be interested in watching. And he's got to not only do that, but he's got to prove he can do it at a high level. And I think that people want to see him go out there and do it and just absolutely do it at the same level that he's been able to do it so far in his college football career.
And then get out immediately.
And be done by halftime.
I love how people ask that too. It's like, okay, so when you go in and then you guys are up by a lot, and then when you come out, how's that going to be? I mean, he actually was like, we got to score a lot of points before that, but we'll get to that piece of sound. This is what Kyle Whittingham said about Cam Rising's readiness, because it's not just, I think the physical aspect, it's all taken care of. All that stuff has been done. All that work has been done. It's about whether or not he's there mentally, and I'm interested to see how it goes. Here's what Kyle Whittingham said about the readiness of Cam Rising.
He is going to be very judicious in his running, and we've had, ad nauseum talks about that. And he's going to be a guy that really picks his spots and, not trying to fight for that extra yard when, there are situations where, end of game or whatever, where he's going to need to go ahead and throw it in there. But preservation is the key with him as far as when he decides to tuck the ball and run it. Very little QB run game. You're not going to see a whole lot of QB run game. He's right now functioning as well as he ever has. His arm strength is back. The leg feels great. Just no limitations. I mean, he's ready to roll.
There you go. However, be judicious in the running. Why? Because it freaks everybody out.
Because their entire season relies on him staying healthy, staying clean.
It freaks everybody out. And here's what Cam Rising actually said, a couple of things in the media availability this week. And now that they're just a few hours away from kickoff and getting things going, he's not worried about how much he's going to be limited at all. He was asked about it, and he's more concerned about just making sure that he's playing his game.
I don't like to focus on that. We got to go out there and score a lot of points in order for that to happen, so we got to be focused on what we need to handle first, and then if we can get everybody in, that would be great, but that's not our focus.
Hey, Cam, when are you guys going to get Isaac Wilson in the game?
Jeez.
Is that the question? Was that the question that was asked? It almost sounded like, I can't worry about that. We got to throw a ton of points in there, man, before we even start thinking about that.
If you see Isaac Wilson by halftime, things went really, really well. And then that's something we can talk about after the game. But I think you really have to start from the first second in that first drive, and really we'll learn a lot 5-10 minutes into that game.
Here's what else he said, and I think you should be excited about this. I bet this is the most talented group he's had around him. You tell me if I'm wrong, at least at the wideout position for the Utes. Here's what he said about that.
Just having depth, having multiple guys that can go in and make big plays. When you have that, usually it's going to make you be able to run any type of play you want at any time. So just having that ability is going to be special.
Okay. He's got a lot of weapons. I know that they're trying to figure out the running back thing. We know that they've said that. Here's what Witt said about the running back situation. I do think that whoever goes in there, they're going to give some opportunities. I don't think they want to do the by committee thing for long. And if this is going to be an extended tryout, great. But let's see how they do first game. But they have a lot of running backs who are going to be able to do a lot. Witt's not necessarily worried about whether or not they have enough guys to be able to do it.
Even though we don't have a clear-cut RB1, it's not the end of the world that we don't have that, but we have the two tiers of running backs, like I mentioned, towards the end of fall camp, where Mekhi Bernard, Jalen Glover, Mike Mitchell have been in that first group, and then we'll see the vast majority of the playing time. You'll also see Dijon Stanley get some touches during the game, and then Hunter Andrews has been a really good addition to the running back group, will add value, and then Charlie Vincent, Mr. Reliable, that is such a weapon for us on special teams. He's one of the mainstays on special teams, but that is the room that we're working with, those 6 guys. Like I said, that first tier has separated itself from the second tier, with the exception of Dijon having a package of plays that he'll execute.
Look, that's four running backs they mentioned, including a special package put together for Dijon Stanley. Is that, you think that's they're not planning on a quarterback run situation, but maybe some direct snap wildcat situation? Exactly? How do you build up a package for a guy who's like kind of listed as the fourth? Okay.
Get him the ball in some way. Get him out in open space.
Andy Ludwig likes
They've got some
loves
things
the jet
designed
sweeps.
and drawn up.
Awesome.
They'll get him the ball. It won't be many. I mean, remember what they did with Nate Johnson when he was a freshman?
Yes.
Something similar to that.
Okay. All right. He talks about Brant Kuithe as well, and we'll get to something that Brant Kuithe also brought up. But speaking of guys who are coming back, and I know you probably heard Hanson Scotty roll out their number 2 and number 1 players on there, 60 and 60, and it was Brant Kuithe at 2, and it was, not surprisingly, Cam Rising at 1. Here's what Witt said about Brant Kuithe coming back.
He's a weapon for us, and he's looked great in practice. We have been intelligent with how we've used him. We have given him a few practices off here and there just to make sure that we don't overdo it. He is arguably, one of the top 2 or 3 receiving tight ends in the nation. He's a tough matchup for defenses, and when you look at that position room is loaded. We got 6 guys that could maybe start anywhere in the Big 12.
Okay.
We talk about Cam Rising back in the mental aspect. Same for Brant Kuithe. He's got to do the same thing. He's got to go out and prove the same thing, that he can get back to being Brant Kuithe that he was before the injury at Arizona State. This is a big night for Utah. Now, this is not – everyone's like, oh, it's Southern Utah, and it's an FCS opponent and all that kind of stuff, and they're not playing Florida, they're not playing Michigan like they normally do.
Who's that? What voice
Doesn't
is
matter.
that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Utah fan? Aren't you offended by this? This is like when my wife does.
Skeptical guy that just
Does your wife have a voice for you, by the way, when she does your impersonation?
Yeah, it's probably like, damn.
Yes, every husband has a voice that their wife does for them.
This is what I sound like when I talk.
Okay. And I'm telling you,
I gotta drool while I do it. Yeah, I mean, there's probably some skepticism out there about what are we learning from this? This is dumb. Why don't they play Florida? Why aren't they playing Georgia in the opener? I mean, this is really good for where Utah is at right now, with a lot of guys coming back from injury. I think there's some years where it would be great to have that big time game right out of the gate. I think this is good for this team, for what they're trying to accomplish, and for who's coming back and getting back in the mix and getting comfortable again, especially mentally. This is perfect for this Utah team, and it'll be really fascinating to see what they're like with all these guys coming back from injury. We haven't talked about a lot. Lander Barton's coming back from injury.
Oh, yeah.
Connor O'Toole was banged up most of the year. Van Fillinger was banged up most of the year last year. Karene Reed was banged up. I mean, there's a number of guys that are key players that missed time last year that are going to be back. How are they? Are they better? And I expect a lot of them to be, if not all of them. That's why there's so much excitement about what this team can do. But we want to see it on the field, especially with Cam, with the importance of the position he plays.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We've got a lot to break down still today, of course. There's so much to be able to jump into and to dive into. This Utah game tonight, though, if you're a Utah fan, what's your level of expectation? What is it that you want to see? Do you want to see Cam Rising play the full game and kind of just see and get all that work in? Or do you want to be one of those people that sits back and goes, okay, I want to be able to see that guy go in, they're up by 5 scores, bring him out of the game in the third quarter. Is that the version you want to see? What's the definition of success of Cam Rising being back tonight? Or is it just like, if they have a 24-0 victory over Southern Utah that they had back in 2016, for example?
Yeah, and that's not going to fly tonight. The expectations of this team are too high to struggle.
Okay, hold on.
I guess I don't care who this has nothing to do with Southern Utah. Nothing to do with Southern Utah. I think Delane Fitzgerald's doing a great job there. He got an extension. They're getting back to the quality FCS team that they were a few years ago. But they're coming up here to get a paycheck. We all know what this is about. This is about Utah. And how good are they going to look tonight? And if they don't look great and they are not sharp, and they leave doubt tonight, then it's going to be like, what's going on? Because the expectations for this team are so sky high, and for good reason, because they have that kind of talent, and they have that kind of experience, and they have that kind of coaching staff. So there's no excuse for it not to be. So if it isn't what we expect, it's natural to be disappointed. If we walk away disappointed tonight, then we're going to have questions going into Baylor.
It's time to get the inside info on BYU with Cougar Insider Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
A lot of respect for their players. I know they got some turnover and getting some guys going, but what you know with consistency that they have in the coaching staff with their head coach, they'll be able to get their guys ready to go, and we'll get their best shot Saturday. We just got to make sure that they get ours.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are prepping you for all sorts of football going on this weekend. Of course, starting tonight, the University of Utah firing off against Southern Illinois. Against Southern Utah. BYU against Southern Illinois. I have a lot of Southerns in my head.
A lot of directional schools week one.
A lot of directional FCS schools. And
so
what
BYU and Utah are playing directional schools, and Utah State's playing some guy named Bob.
Hey, Bob, you come play a football game with us this weekend? We just want to see where our team's at.
What, Bill wasn't available? You got to play Bob instead?
Bob Morris, yeah, Robert Morris. Extra points if you know where Robert Morris University is.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
There you go.
I did my homework.
By the way, now what's their mascot? What's RMU's mascot? Just the Bob. Just a guy named Bob.
The Robert Morris.
Just the guy.
Roberts.
Joining us on the program right now, he's our BYU insider, and he also is our lead college football simulator of all things college football 2025. Boy, the sim game has blown up, Mitch. We'll take some credit for it because faking our way through a fake game to get us to these real games has actually worked for us. It's actually helped. But I think it was, why did people love that simulation of BYU and Southern Illinois? Is it because it was so dang close and so many points were scored?
Oh, I think the visual first. I mean, I think that just they were desperate for football like all of us. We're ready for this thing. But yeah, that story just it popped too on the website, and there are a lot of people that text me and hit me up said, "I love that simulation." I just think people are clamoring for football, but also they just don't know what to feel about this BYU team going into week one because there's just so many unknowns. We feel like we maybe know this team's going to be better, but is it going to be what it was last year? I talked to Keanu Hill yesterday, BYU tight end, and I asked him about how he's about the pressures of getting off to a fast start because he acknowledged last year the team felt down after that Sam Houston game. They were disappointed, and so there's a little bit of urgency to get out to a strong start, and I just feel like that pressure is also carried over to the fan base because they hope it's not a Sam Houston game. They want to just see a strong performance. They're going to win against Southern Illinois, but how's it going to look? How's it going to play out? I think that's why going back to the video game, why I think people just kind of wanted to get a feel and they hope and pray it doesn't play out like that.
Well, whatever the result is, the quarterback at BYU is going to play a big role in what that is. But the problem is we have no idea. But Aaron Roderick says he knows, and it's clear cut at quarterback after his statements and putting, reading some of the tea leaves. Mitch, who do you think gets the start?
I think Jake Retzlaff gets the start, and the thing is that I don't know if it's completely clear cut. I mean, obviously the coaches got way more intel, and they saw every snap, every rep, and Jake, he did have 15 spring practices where he was better than Gary Bohannon, and you put it all together over the course of the entire year, you can maybe then make the case for clear cut, but still, I think you should factor in Gary Bohannon in some capacity, and if the run game's not working, if that passing attack is struggling, consider going to Gary Bohannon if it does in fact be Jake Retzlaff. BYU wants Jake Retzlaff, though I do believe from what I've seen this whole year, he has gotten better, and particularly in fall camp, passing the football, he has done a lot better, and I feel like there's reason for optimism that they can be a more effective passing attack team. And what was noticeable too in fall camp was BYU was very willing to go to the quick hit, passes to the receivers. Last year I thought that could be an option where they could turn that into their run game, where you're just doing those quick hits, 2-3 yards, but move upfield. Whereas you're just getting stonewalled at the line of scrimmage with your running backs. Turn your passing game in some extent into a ground game where you're, in a 2nd and 6 rather than 2nd and 11. So I thought that was noteworthy. And Retzlaff had great command of the offense too in camp. And now, still, with all this said, I mean, I still have, modest expectations at best for him. I still think that there's an opportunity for someone like Bohannon to should be having chances to play. But I do think he has made a lot of improvements since last year. And I always go back to last season in January of 2023 when they brought him in, Aaron Roderick, this offensive staff, they looked at Retzlaff as a potential QB1 to be the face of the program in the heart of the Big 12 for them. And so they want to play that out. I did also think it was noteworthy, too, that Roderick, point blank said the eligibility piece was not factored into his decision in this, which I thought was interesting commentary, because if all things are equal, you do go with the younger guy, because if Retzlaff does hit this year, it gives you more momentum going into 2025 that you feel like, hey, you got a QB1.
Mitch, one thing that, of course, I was telling JJ this because on the video you had a smirking A-Rod. Was he smirking because he's excited? Is he smiling because he's excited about what they've got at quarterback and what they've got planned out for Southern Illinois, or is it smiling because he gets to tell you no again?
Probably the latter, that he gets to tell us no again. And you know what? And I think that I'm curious to see, on Saturday how maybe loose BYU is. Because again, is it a smile of nervous? That it's like you feel like you still don't have the complete answers. And he himself, Roderick, has said throughout camp they're not going to be able to say anything until they prove it on the field. And that's what's so interesting about this BYU team, is that so many times you've fallen into the traps of, okay, this has turned the corner in camp, and then it doesn't materialize in the season. I don't think anyone's giving them any praise, and rightfully so, from what was seen in camp. Now, there were good things. There were some positive developments, particularly at linebacker. I also, see the wide receivers being a great strength for BYU. But there's other key spots, the defensive line, the offensive line too. I think that starting five is going to be good. You got to go prove it, though. And there's nothing that can be said in the preseason that's going to really change people's minds until you actually do it week after week in a season. It can't just be one game either. It's got to be over the course of an entire year, because, BYU had a game last season at Arkansas where they had, in some respects, a complete game defensively, and they had some explosive plays offensively. It was a big win at the time, but do it over the course of a 12-game season. And so that's going to be the task in front of Roderick and Kalani and this whole entire staff.
What's the biggest non-quarterback storyline or question mark about this team that you'd like to see answered on Saturday?
The offensive line. It has, are they as good as a run-blocking team as they have said they're going to be? That has been the number one goal for Aaron Roderick beyond the quarterback, sorting that out. His messaging has been, number one goal, establish the ground attack, because they were a good football team when they had Tyler Algier and, even for a brief window, Tyson Williams, and before that with Kalani, Jamal Williams. So BYU had a great run of really good running backs, and that was non-existent last year. And even though they had an NFL running back in Aiden Robbins, he was banged up, and it was just non-existent. So, L.J. Martin, he's cleared to go, ready to go for Saturday. And, BYU's offensive line has got to dominate the Salukis, because Southern Illinois, they are a team that they shouldn't pose a threat to BYU. But one thing that is interesting about them is that they come from the best league in the FCS, and they play teams in their league annually that are kind of built like, group of five or maybe low-end P4 offensive lines like North Dakota State, South Dakota State. Those are good football teams. We're going to see North Dakota State tonight against Colorado, and they're only an underdog by about a touchdown. So the trench play in the Missouri Valley is pretty good. It's comparable to group of five programs. But so, BYU, if they do dominate at the line of scrimmage, this offensive line, it could be a little, moment that says, okay, maybe they have turned the corner. But if they have struggle, man, I don't know how you reevaluate this season, because the second unit is very thin. Your starting five should be good, but that second unit has really little to no experience. And so they got to get it right with that starting five.
Mitch Harper, BYU Insider, KSLSports.com. Mitch, you and I get to fire up our Big 12 breakdown, 1st and 12, every Sunday, 10 to noon, right here on the KSL Sports Zone and also on KSL News Radio. From the Big 12 perspective, what's the stuff that you're excited to be able to chop it up this year about with this conference? What excites you about Utah and BYU being a part of it? Is it that? Is it where this conference is? Is it Brett Yormark's insane way of planning things out with this league. But as we break the league down more every Sunday, what excites you about it?
I'm curious to see what the identity of this league becomes, because half the members were not members 24 months ago or 18 months ago. So it's a power league, yet it's, as Yormark has said many times, it's a startup. So what is it going to become? Is it going to be a past happy league that it once was with when Holmes and Baker Mayfield were there? Or is it going to be, the running back league where it is this year? The personnel running back is elite. It's the best running back league in college football. But just kind of maybe the narrative, the identity of the Big 12 is going to become. Yormark is trying to set the tone as the deepest league in America. I don't know if I buy that necessarily, but it's pretty impressive that your 16th team going into the season is Arizona State. And I know Arizona State's not great, but still, that's a program that they could, win 6. You could draw up a path where Arizona State's winning 6, whereas other Power 4 leagues, your seller is Vandy and Indiana. You're not drawing up much for those teams. So there's really not a terrible floor in this conference. So the identity is going to be interesting. But I also think, too, the chase for getting 2 bids into the playoff. I feel like you cannot be branded as a 1-bid league in the first year of the playoff, because then you're behind the 8 ball and you're fighting a narrative perception deal that will just linger. Even though people, year to year, it should just be based on, some years are down, others are up. But that'll be an ongoing perception battle that the Big 12 will face. They have to get 2 teams into the college football playoff. And if they don't, that's just going to be a bad look where people are then going to say, well, they're more like a group of 5 than they are P4. Mm-hmm. So it's critical for these 16 teams to find a way to get 2. 3 would be incredible. But if they get 2, that'd be a solid start in year 1 in the 12-team playoff era.
Mitch, we're excited about it, man. This is it's such a fun time of year, and the anticipation is killing us. That's just how it works every year. So we're looking forward to it, and we'll catch you on Saturday, and we'll break it down there, and we'll break some bread over some Tucanos up in the media area.
Can't wait, guys. Looking forward to another great year. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Take care.
There you go.
Thanks, Mitch.
Harper, everybody.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get it done. Let's get it going.
It feels.
I'm really fascinated by this BYU team.
Yeah, I don't know what to think.
With Utah, it's a different deal because we have such high expectations of them and their experience and the talent and all that kind of stuff. BYU is in this different place where there's no pressure on them, right? Because they think everybody outside of their locker room thinks they're not good. So how do they deal with that? How do they play that role? And can Kalani tap into some of what Kyle Whittingham used to do when he was up at Utah and really get this team fired up to prove people wrong? If they do, what a great story that's going to be. And, that would be great.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. We've got our Would You Rather. We're going to chop it up with Adam from Beehive Meals again. By the way, we have our Hercules Hero of the Week that we're going to be giving a shout-out to next hour. So you don't want to miss that. Speaking of next hour, we also have Steve Bartle, our Ute insider for KSLSports.com. One of the newest members of the KSL Sports team. Cannot wait to have him break it down for us again. More to go around the corner, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Listen, everybody! Real-life hypotheticals to get your brain churning. As JJ and Alex ask, would you rather?
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Oh, my goodness. Would you rather? Brought to you by Quantum Fiber. Your life moves fast. Quantum Fiber internet is faster. Move up to tomorrow's speeds today. QuantumFiber.com. That is QuantumFiber.com. All right. I love this. So would you rather? We throw these out there. Scenarios of which one you'd rather have. You only get one. I don't know. I get people that without fail, I get tweeted at. Somebody will go, well, that's a dumb question. They should win both, and it's like I'm saying
we're playing a game here.
You only
everybody.
get one choice.
We got a 5-minute radio segment here. Let us have some fun.
Look, if you're talking about guaranteeing a win against BYU or guaranteeing a win against Oklahoma State, I'm just going to say I'm going to guarantee a win against both of them.
You stink,
okay.
And I don't like you.
Play the game. Come on, man. So you can only get one of these, JJ.
All right.
Week 1 of college football or week 1 of the NFL?
Week 1 of the NFL. It's
What's
not
your
even close.
problem? How are you saying it's not
How
close?
many great matchups are there in week 1 of the college football season? Name them. Go. Exactly. How many
Nothing's
great
going
matchups
on.
do we have in week 1 of the NFL? All of them.
But there's
all of them.
Yeah, Jeremy said set the alarm for Siri to.
Yeah, I can't wait for Illinois and Eastern Illinois. Boy, San Jose State and Sac State are gonna butt heads tonight. That'll be fun on True TV or Max.
True TV.
So did I?
Hold on. No,
I think I
still
made
don't-
my point.
No,
it's the NFL. It's not even close.
I enjoy a Saturday of planting my butt.
Of watching
Well, it doesn't-
Northwestern State versus Tulsa. Get out of here. Stop.
Who's the Northwestern State?
Alcorn State and UAB.
Who's the UAB?
Pop
of
your
the,
popcorn
who's
now.
the UAB of the NFL? I
Commanders.
get it. Look, I get it. I get what you're saying. It's just that I just get more excited about college football than I do about the NFL overall. I know the football's better. From a football standpoint, I know intellectually the football's better. I know it. And listen, the NFL plays 17 games in the season. And every game, you really don't know how things are going to go every game. But college football is a love affair that I've had my entire life.
We already know the two teams that are going to win a national championship either or.
Okay, come
And
on.
it's not. We're not even officially into week 1
Why
yet.
would you be so cynical as to say that we already know how this
Do you
thing's
do
going to
that
go?
in the NFL? Do you know the Chiefs and who else? And the Chiefs came this close to not making it last year.
You know what's funny is you have
They weren't great last year all
who
the
has
time.
the best odds in the
I know
in
Rusty
the NFC?
heard that and he's storming down.
I know.
He's coming to get me.
I told Rusty, I said, you should take heart because everybody's all. When the Broncos are talking about Zach Wilson making the 53-man roster, I think you guys are going to be okay in the AFC West, bro.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be okay. I don't even know who the favorite is in the NFC. Don't say your Cowboys. They're not. Okay.
I wish. Niners,
Oh yeah.
despite their wide receiver issues.
Yeah.
Too many
Okay.
mouths to feed in San Francisco. That's the problem.